Okay, Kevin Burke here, and I have the honor and privilege to chat for a few minutes with Tim Grover, the legendary trainer who has worked with the likes of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, Hakeem Olajuwon, to name a few, and who has a new book coming out entitled Relentless, which goes into detail of some of the behind the scenes with some of the aforementioned. The book is available April 16th. Again, the title is Relentless. Tim, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Not too bad at all. Again, thanks for a few minutes here. I received my advanced copy a few days ago. I'm just beginning to dig into it. What inspired you to write something like this?
Well, you know what? Everybody wants to know what goes on behind the success of a lead individual like a Michael Jordan, like a Kobe Bryant. But everybody sees the physical component, and nobody understands what the driving force really behind them is from the neck up. It's how they think and how they don't think and how they go after certain goals. And I just wanted to kind of convey that a little bit more and try to tell the people that, yeah, the physical has a lot to do with it, but regardless of whether you play basketball or whatever you do in your daily activity, in your daily lives, there's a certain way that these individuals think that allow them to be successful, which can be translated in anything you do.
What can you pinpoint in terms of what guys like Kobe and Michael have differently upstairs than, say, your not so household name guys in the NBA have? What separates them?
Well, I classify people into three different categories. I classify them into coolers, closers, and cleaners. And what Michael and Kobe have, they are what I call the ultimate cleaners. And there are 13 different traits that we've come up with to identify to see what category that you fall in. And, you know, some of them is both those individuals know exactly who they are. They don't try to please. They're not trying to please the media. They're not trying to please individuals. They know who they are. They know what they do, and they stay on that course. They push themselves harder than anyone else will. When everyone else has said they've had enough or they can't go any farther, those guys continue to work from a physical standpoint and also from a mental standpoint. Another great component of those two is they don't run from pressure. They thrive from it. They look for those situations, and that's what fuels them to carry them on even farther and farther. And those are the same things that individuals, and no matter what you do, if you take those list of 13 that we have and you start to follow those, you can do what these guys do, whether you're working at a restaurant, you're a CEO of a company, you're, you know, whatever it is.
I see here that you have LeBron. You list LeBron as a closer, not a cleaner. What are some of those traits that he's missing that, say, Michael and Kobe do possess?
Well, I think the biggest thing between what's going on is LeBron hasn't had his full time to be classified as a cleaner yet. To be classified as a cleaner, you have to go through some things. And I just don't think so. He, in his life, or his particular sport, that he's gone through everything. You know, he came on as, you know, the best player out of high school. He had a chance to go. He chose not to go to college, so he didn't have the adversity of losing the games or not going to the NCAA tournament and not winning there. As soon as he came into the league, he didn't have anybody to really teach him about the ups and downs and how to deal with it from the neck up. You know, from the neck down, from a physical standpoint, rightly so, he deserves his fourth MVP for the season, which he should be getting. He's playing at an unbelievable level. But some of the things that I've seen in the past, and I'm still seeing, he hasn't quite reached that cleaner state yet, but he's very close.
Got it. A lot of basketball purists say that there's some differences in today's NBA player versus the 90s, where the league really grew in popularity thanks in large part to Michael. Do you identify differences in the player now versus the 90s?
Oh, yeah, there's a huge difference. I mean, there's a huge difference in the physicality of the game, the mental preparation, how guys approach the game. I mean, you look at a big thing that's on TV right now is about certain players taking rest and taking time off. And I said, you look back in the 80s and 90s, could you imagine as a coach or a GM
right,
telling Michael or Larry Bird, hey, I want you to sit out this game when they're capable of playing? They'd have laughed at you. They'd have like, no, it's not gonna happen. But now, this time here, when management or a player says he's going to sit out, I mean, it's kind of, they look at the ultimate goal. They look at the championship as the end result, as they should. Where back in the early days, it was more of every game was the ultimate goal to the individual. Michael and Larry wanted to send a message out every single game,
right,
whether, no matter what they were doing. Nowadays, you look at Pat Riley, who I also call a cleaner. He had to adjust his style to do what's best for the players and do what's best for the team. And the ultimate goal obviously for the Miami Heat is, hey, I need my players healthy. I need them rested. The ultimate goal is the finals.
In all your years of working with Michael, can you share with us something that maybe perhaps we don't know that the public would love to find out about him?
I mean, Michael was, as everyone knows, he was the ultimate competitor. Really didn't say a whole lot unless he was in front of the media. Pretty much kept to himself. But you could tell by his body language, what kind of state he was in. The one thing I could say about him that I really haven't seen any other player do is, in the book Relentless, we talk about the zone, and Michael he was in the zone more often than any other individual I had ever seen. And getting into the zone, it started early in the mornings with his workouts and his preparation. It never started when he got to the game. And once he was in that zone, it was, it's strictly about instinct and not thinking, and that's how he played.
Perhaps it's an opportunity, I guess, for a little bit of a self-promotion here, but what is it about you, Tim? What is it about you that has enabled you to work with some of these great guys and great players and help them reach their potential?
Well, I've gone through every physical possible injury that there's out there. I've had ankle issues, knee issues, hip issues, backs, all things. So I made that my focus, to being able to listen. I don't want anybody else to feel what I had to go through because I was trained improperly or people didn't know what they were doing. So I really educated myself and really started to watch how the body moved, and that's how I'm able to relate to these players, because when they tell me, oh, I have a second-degree ankle sprain, and I know exactly what they're going through. I know how it feels. I know how to get them the best results to get these individuals back on the court quicker as possible. And also being able to understand, from being around, working with years with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, we're working on the greats. I know how they think mentally, and I'm able to relay that information on from a personal standpoint to these new individuals, and that brings undue respect from these guys.
Piggybacking on something that you just mentioned, and perhaps this is out of your realm of expertise, or maybe it isn't, what do you think is the cause for this increase in ACL tears that we've seen over the past couple of years?
I honestly feel that there's just so much playing being done at a younger age, and there isn't a whole lot of emphasis put on practice and training correctly, that the body is just starting to wear out. If you think about that, if you think about any sport you do, it's predominantly one direction. I mean, in basketball, you're pretty much running forward. You do some side-to-side stuff, but there isn't a whole lot of backward stuff. So if you're constantly working in that direction over and over again and not balancing out the muscles and working in the other direction, the body, something is going to get worn out quicker than the others, or something is going to be used more than the other muscles are, or the other ligaments and tendons in there, and something's got to give. Plus, also, when you start to wear a lot of support, when you start to support the ankles and you start to support the knees and you start to support the hips, it doesn't allow them to So if a joint can't move the way it's supposed to move, the next thing to go is going to be a ligament.
Got it. Finally, Tim, before I let you get out of here, I know you go into it in detail in the book, so without giving it away, maybe just a few sentences. Dwayne Wade gave you a call last year during the finals. What was on his mind? What did he say to you? What was all that about?
You know, he was injured. All right, he just had said, "I've gotten so close to the end result, which is my second championship, and I just want to make sure that I can get there. And I know with your help that you will get me through these next few games." And it was just it's a trust factor, and that was more dealing with his mental than it was his physical, because we knew he was going to need knee surgery. There's not a whole lot you could do in a week, but there's enough that I could do to make him feel more confident upstairs that the knee is going to be fine through these finals, and just do what you need to do. Stop thinking about it. Just play. Dwayne Wade is one of the guys that plays on instinct more than anybody that I know out there, and he just wanted to know that he didn't have to think about his knee. He could just go out there and do the things that he was capable of doing.
Very good. Once again, the name of the book is entitled Relentless, available April 16th. Tim Grover, I appreciate the time and much success with the book.
Thank you very much for your time.